Dear students, I welcome you on behalf of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College for the remote teaching learning process, where our motto is let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Let us move towards part 2 of chapter number 9, that is Depository System, wherein today we are going to understand the advantages of depository system. As discussed in the previous video, depository system is that system wherein securities are held in electronic form or dematerialized form. We also understood the importance of depository system. Now today, let us move towards the advantages of depository system. The depository system of holding securities is beneficial to the investors, that is the security holder, as well as to the companies issuing securities. So let us understand in what way depository system is beneficial to the investors and even to the companies. The fourth question of chapter number 9 is explain the advantages of depository system to investors. The first one being elimination of risk. When the shares are held in physical form, that is paper form, there are various risks associated or related to it. Like there could be delays in delivering share certificates or debenture certificates in paper form after the company has allotted the securities, or they could be lost or could be stolen. It also faces the problem of mutilation, that is, at times the name of issuer or security holder or some other identifying details cannot be read on the certificate clearly. Lastly, it also faces the problem of bad deliveries. Now, when the securities are held in electronic form, it is beneficial to investors as all this risk related to paper or physical certificates are totally eliminated. Thus, the investor need not worry about theft, damage, mutilation, as now they are completely safe in the depository system. The next benefit is related to safety. The depository system is considered to be the most safe and secure way of holding securities. As discussed earlier, the depository system was introduced in India by passing the Depository Act in the year 1996. Thus, the entire system has to function under the Depository Act 1996. Not only that, the functioning of the depository system is also monitored by SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India. As discussed earlier, SEBI is the regulator of capital market in India. SEBI was established in the year 1992 with the objective of promoting the securities, protecting the interest of investors in securities market, and also to act as a regulator of all stock exchanges prevailing in India. Thus, the investors investing in securities market are very well aware about the fact that the depository system is being regulated and monitored by SEBI, and as such they feel safe to invest in such securities. Further, under this system, the investor can keep his account in a freeze or a lock mode. This will help them to avoid or prevent any unexpected debit or credit of securities or even both. However, this can be done by giving necessary instructions to depository participant, that is TP. Now over here we need to understand about DP. DP is an agent or a representative of depository. It acts as a link between depository and investor. Thus, the depository, that is NSDL or CDSL, deals with the investors through depository participant. The investors do not directly communicate or deal with the depository. They have a middle person, and that middle agent, intermediary, is depository participant. This depository participant could be banks, financial institutions, etc. They can act as depository participant, and thereby they become a link between the depository and investor. Thus, from the above points, it is very much clear that depository system is really safe way of holding securities for investors. The next benefit to the investors is in the form of easy transfer of shares. When the shares are transferred in physical form, it requires filling of instrument of transfer, that is transfer form giving complete details of transfer. Along with that, it also requires lodging, that is registration or submission of many other documents like original share certificate, copy of PAN card, etc. However, when the shares are transferred electronically, all the efforts required in filling the transfer form and lodging the documents are eliminated. Thus, it becomes easy for the investor to transfer his or her shares in electronic form. Stamp duty on transfer. The next is relating to stamp duty. Stamp duty on transfer of shares is the tax which is levied or charged by the government on transfer of securities. It is levied by the central government. This stamp duty is payable only when the shares are transferred in physical form. However, if the shares are transferred electronically, then no such stamp duty is applicable on transfer of shares. Thus, investors are thereby benefited as they need not pay stamp duty in electronic mode of transfer of shares. Lastly, when the shares are held in depository system, even the processing time which is required to transfer shares is reduced. Not only that, with the reduction in the processing time, automatically neither the securities nor the cash will be held up unnecessarily for a longer period of time. There would be quick conversion of securities into cash and vice versa, that is cash into securities. The next benefit enjoyed by investor is relating to updates and intimation which he or she receives from time to time. The investor of securities is provided with complete details of his or her holdings and even the transactions that are settled through this account. These updates are provided by DP, that is the depository participant who is an agent of depository. And sometimes even the depository too may provide such information. Thus, just as in case of banks wherein we get timely intimation and updates of our account holdings, that is account status, even in a similar way through depository system we get such intimation and updates about our security account holding. The next advantage is security against loan. When the securities are held in dematerialized or electronic form, it is advantageous for the investors while they avail the facility of loan from banks and financial institutions. While taking loan, the investors can provide this dematerialized securities as security to banks and financial institutions. These institutions also prefer to accept dematerialized securities as mortgage when compared to physical securities. Thus, When the securities are held in electronic form, it becomes easy for investors to raise loan. The next one is no concept of lots. Before introduction of depository system, the concept of lots, that is odd and even lots, existed in physical trading. The shares were traded in lots. An odd lot is a stock which comprises of less than 100 shares of a stock. So any stock order from 1 share to 99 shares is considered to be an odd lot. Thus, an odd lot is a number of shares less than 100, that is from 1 to 99. Further, a round lot consists of 100 shares of stock. Not only that, any number of shares that is a multiple of 100 like 200, 500, 800, etc. is also a round lot. However, an order for a number of shares greater than 100 but not a multiple of 100 like 142, 373, 548, etc. is a mixed lot. Thus, investors had to buy and sell securities in specific lots of 50 or 100 shares. However, in the demat system, there is no question of odd lot buying and selling at all. In demat, an investor can buy one share of any stock or sell one share of any stock. As under dematerialized securities, the market lot consists even one single share. The next advantage is related to nomination facility. Under the depository system, the individual investors can take benefit of nomination facility and thereby appoint their nominees who will legally own their securities after their death. The nomination facility thus simplifies the process of transmission of securities in event of death of investor. The last advantage of depository system to investor is related to automatic credit. Under this system, the account of an investor is automatically credited or debited whenever the company makes any changes which has an impact, that is effect on securities of company. Such an action initiated or taken by the company is called as corporate action. Some example of corporate action includes payment of dividend, issue of bonus shares, offering rights shares, etc. Thus, whenever the company makes payment of dividend or issues bonus shares, it is automatically credited to the account of investors. So with this, we have completed all the 8 benefits or advantages of depository system to the investor. Let us now move towards the question number 5, that is, explain the advantages of depository system to the company. The first one being up-to-date information. The depository system is beneficial not only to the investors but also to company. Firstly, it is beneficial as the depository, which could be either NSDL or CDSL, provides complete up-to-date information about each and every investor to the joint stock companies. The second advantage of depository system to the companies is in the form of reduction in cost and efforts. When the securities are held in physical form, it involves a lot of cost, efforts, and time as it requires printing and distribution of certificates in paper form whenever the company makes new issue or issues bonus shares, transfers shares, etc. However, under the depository system, as everything is done electronically, obviously the cost, efforts, and time involved in physical handling of security is saved. The third advantage explains about better relationship between investor and company. With the introduction of depository system, there has been a substantial reduction in complaints relating to loss of certificates, differences in signature, long time which is taken by the company while executing the request, etc. This has definitely led to better communication between company and investors. With better communication and improved relationship, there has been an increase in goodwill and reputation of company. The last advantage to company is related to international investment. As discussed earlier, depository system of trading securities exist in all the developed countries. Under this system, the securities are held in electronic form, and as such, it is possible for companies to provide better and quicker services to investors. Hence, it is possible for the companies to attract investment from abroad, that is, international investment. Thus, due to the depository system, it has become possible for Indian companies to raise capital not only from the Indian securities market but also from the international market. Thus, with this, we have completed the advantages of depository system to the investors, wherein we understood 8 advantages, and then we also covered the advantages of depository system to the companies, wherein we learned 4 advantages of depository system which are enjoyed by the joint stock companies. Thank you dear students for your patience listening.